We have to test if it's loud enough. Can you talk to me?
Ja. Ja, ik kan met jou praten.
Kan je met mij praten?
Ik kan met jou praten.
Wat zeg je dan tegen mij?
Ik zeg dat je het leuk bent.
You cannot make it into the video.
Ja, dag. Het is wel goed nou hoor.
Is heel goed nou hoor. Is goed.
Is goed nou.
Zal ik gewoon beginnen dan?
Ik denk het wel, ja.
Oké. Hello everybody, we are back and we want to thank you so very much for all your questions that you sent to us. Bas and I were asking yesterday, like I was asking my people and he was asking his people, his guys, to send us questions for, like questions about, how do you say that? Questions about the other gender.
The other gender?
Yes.
Things you don't understand about the other gender,
exactly.
Or that you really want to know in perspective of relationships or dating.
Exactly. Like what do you always wanted to know from men? What do you always wanted to ask men and never had the opportunity to do so? And now we have a man. And this man, this gorgeous version, now you say that, object is the wrong thing. This
Just this man.
Just this man. Oh, there's such a nice word. I want to say this, the very smart word. Okay, it's not there.
Specimen.
No, it was much more good.
Yeah. Do you want to go?
No, I just want to say that like we have become like so many. Look, I have 3 sites here, and we're just going to make a series out of that. Like I'm going to ask 3 or 4 questions to Bas, and this will be one video in itself, and it won't get like 3 hours, and then you get a sequel and a third cool. You just get like pieces of it.
Yeah.
So, and if you want to get the second one, you have to subscribe to our love letter, but all the information you will get underneath the video or upside in the video, you will see that. And what did you want to say?
I just wanted to make some remarks before we start off with the questions, because I want to point out that I'm just a man. I'm not all men, so I will respond or will answer from my experience and the experiences I have with guys I know and guys I talk with about these subjects. So I'm not representing all men here. And another point is that because I think you put much effort in your questions, and I think you expect an honest answer. So I will be very honest here. And it might be that because I'm so honest, I will hurt some of the listeners. But I want you to know that every answer I give comes from a good and from a loving place. So it's not my intention to hurt, but it's my intention to be honest. Give honest answers.
And I think this is what we need, also honest answers. And I think I also have to say something that is like for me very important, just that you know that. I really think because of course I have a past too, and I have made my experiences with men, and I really think that Bas is a very special man from my terms, how he thinks about things. But like talking to him opened for me a whole new world, because the men that he's like interacting with are obviously exactly like him, and for me it's like, where have these guys always been? Because men I met in my past, mostly of them were totally different. And just that you know that men are different, that there's not just one kind of a man. But if you want to know his perspective on things, this is certainly an interesting thing. And I will also ask him, when there's a Bas answer, I will ask him, what do you think how other men who probably are younger or don't have all this experience that you have would answer or react to it? Mm-hmm. So that he can perhaps also relate to his younger self, how he used to handle things, or how he saw his colleagues, for example, reacting on things. So this.
Yep.
Yeah? Gaan wij starten?
We are going to start, yes.
Okay. So, Barbara would like to know. She writes, what do you need as a man from your woman when you withdraw from her in the I love you, but I don't have the time and the energy to deal with your relationship style? So,
Yeah. Um, what do I need as a man then? Well, the boss answer to this question is that uh, I would invite you as a woman to call me out on my bullshit and don't settle for my bullshit. Because if a guy says, I love you, but I don't want to have time and energy to deal with our love, then there is some diving away in the man and he just doesn't want to stand for his actual feelings, or he doesn't want to fight for what the connection or the magic that is between you. Um, because men like when we feel like the tiniest bit of it comes too close, then we dive in our caves mostly. Um, and what would help me is create a safe bedding, and if this bedding is there, just call me out on my bullshit. Like, hello, you say me that you love me, but you don't want to invest. What's this? What's this about? Where does this come from? And not in a very aggressive, pushy way, but just from a loving heart, so that he can feel also the space to open up to this. Um, yeah.
do you think if this guy really is just like, well, I just don't have the time and the energy to invest in this relationship now, is it worth it to wait for him until he feels ready, or what would you do as a woman, or what would you suggest to do, a woman?
There's not one answer to that. I think, like, if a guy says I love you but then I really, as a woman, I would like to know, but what does this I love you mean exactly?
Mm-hmm.
And if you ask that and you get a question that is satisfying for you, for example, I have so much shit on my head now that I cannot totally surrender to our love or whatever, then you can decide, okay, I will wait for this, or I say no and I going to wander my path without this guy.
Mm.
So I think you have to uh, just ask the questions that are very pungent. Is this a word? Very
Yes.
pungent for you. Important, and then listen to his answer, and from that feel with your antennas and your radars if this is a situation that you want to proceed in, or that you want to turn your back to and wander away.
Yeah. So it really depends on what his answer would be, if he can communicate clearly, or
Yes, and I also think it has to, well, I hope that, and not everybody can do that, but I hope that if you are fully into him, that you can feel his intentions. Um, and I know this is a very hard thing because everybody acts from own patterns and perspectives and child trauma. Although this sounds very hard, but I think everybody has that, carries this with him or her. So if you are able to how do you say that, to
overcome, or
no,
address it, or dive into it, or heal it, or
if you just can try to feel into the intention of the man without bringing all your own personal shit in that, which is very hard, I get that, then you will, I think then you will find out what if the intention is clear, or that he's just a bullshitter who
wants to keep her
says
warm.
I love you but actually doesn't love you. So it's all about feeling the intention, feeling the energy, if it's right, if it's not right. And I understand that this sometimes needs some practice, because I had to learn this as well, to feel and focus on.
Like practice now from the woman's
Yes,
perspective.
yes, because you can
To
only
be honest with
yes,
yourself.
because you can only move from yourself. You cannot change the person in front of
True.
you.
True. Yeah. And then to sticking to your own worth. Worth.
Yes, this is very important. You should always stick to your own worth and never, like, if you feel that the intention is not pure or fitting yours, then you should not stay and wait, I think. And then at some point, if a man stays vague, just call him out on his bullshit. Okay, I've been waiting now, I've been sending you messages and I don't get a response. I want to know where I stand now. So can you answer this? Or can you, tell me something, what's going on now?
Yeah,
right
and I think that many women are, now I'm going deep into that too, but I think many women are very much afraid that they could be too pushy if they it's actually also already going into say in the question number 2, that women are afraid that they could be too much of consuming or too much texting, and everybody has heard these rules, just make yourself a bit rare as a woman, don't
Yes.
go all the way into it. And I think these rules, even if you don't want to play it by the game, it's still somewhere in your head.
Yes, but I think that like the beginning of a relationship always tells you a lot about how the relationship will be. So if you as a woman just want to know where you stand in the story, and this might feel too pushy for the guy, then I believe that you will always be a woman that he cannot handle.
Because you will always be too much.
You will always be too much.
Yeah.
This is what I think.
True.
And of course you can the guy can also heal there and gets more practice to stand more in his power without getting overwhelmed by the pushiness of a woman. But I think that, like, if this already happens in the beginning, that this is like a sign for how a guy is and how your energies will work or not work together.
Yeah. Okay, so you would also say no rules with texting or...
No.
Because, like, let's just go into Jennifer's question, because Jennifer writes, single lady question. Do men really want to do the pursuing? So, like, not just the first date, but the second date and third date and so on. She writes, I had a great first date. I did the asking. He had fun too and texted the next day to say so. Since then, I've sent a couple of friendly texts, nothing particularly flirtatious, including an invitation to a party I threw, and all of his responses were so nice, but he has said not a word about getting together again. So I'm hesitant to ask him out again. I figure if he was interested, he'd ask me. What would you say? It's like, it's also going this direction. Are there rules?
The first thing I would like to say is, because I figure he was interested. This might sound harsh, but I would give the advice that you should never figure what he thinks or how he should react, because you are only responsible for your reaction or your feeling. And you can never, it's not good to just sit and wait because you figure he might be interested or he should call, or I think this is not a good place to be as a woman, not as a man neither, actually. And to go back to the question, do like men pursuing? Yes, they like pursuing. I like pursuing, and I know men, friends of mine, and guys I know in groups, they do like the pursuing. But pursuing can also change into a manner of not having to go for a commitment.
It's just
because
a play,
you can
game.
Pursue as long as you want to, and the pursuing can go on for weeks and weeks and months. And this also can be a reason because the guy think it's spannend.
Interesting.
No, spannend.
There's some tension.
Anxious, that he can be anxious to choose and to commit, to choose for you or to commit to you. So therefore the pursuing can go on for too long, because it's like a mask to not having to choose. But in basic, I think men like to pursue, yes.
Why is that?
I think, and this might sound very lame, but I really think it's something
from
genetic.
Because they hunted.
I think it's the legacy from that still is installed in our DNA. I think it's as simple as that.
It would be it would be a super turn off if the prey, the woman, just lays to your feet and says, "Here I am, take me. I want you," too early in the stage.
Yeah, but this also has to do with what the goals are. If you want to go for a one-night stand.
No, I think we were talking about relationships.
Relationships, no, then it's not for me. Then it wouldn't be nice for me if I would meet a woman that was immediately falling to my feet and wanted to give her all. Yeah. But this happens also in a relationship. When you are further in a relationship, for example, if you would do that now or be too easy, I wouldn't like that neither.
What does this say about me now?
No, I don't say you do that.
No, that I'm fucking complicated. No, this is what it says about not that you let men like more, or there's some friction, some.
Yeah. Yes, I think men like a bit of friction.
When there's
playful friction.
Yeah.
Not when it starts to really grind.
Yes.
It has to be a playful friction.
Okay. So just to be clear, if Jennifer, for example,
yes, because she says she has met a guy, and they spent time, and it was very nice.
She asked him on the first date, and then he didn't ask for a second one.
So they had one date, and she texted him sometimes, and he never, and even in his responses were very kind, but he never asked her again.
He never asked her out again, and I think what she actually wants to ask is, should she not have asked him like already for the first date, because she should have waited until he asked her? And now, what should she do now? Should she just wait until he asks her on the second, or can she go and say, "Hey guy, do we want to go for another date?" How do you see it?
I know it's very hard to keep out of the filling in for another person, but I always think if you want something, just go for it. And if you want to take him out again, text him and say, "Listen, I have 2 tickets for the
Beauty and the Beast movie."
No, for the American football game here and there. Would you like to come, and maybe we can go for a beer afterwards? Then he can say yes or no. But then you know where you stand, because now it stays so. I text him, he doesn't respond.
Yeah.
But if you want to go out with him, just ask him out.
But this is the opposite of the pursuing thing. Because if the man wants to be the hunter, she should not ask. This is the question. Should she just be the...
I think she can ask, because pursuing is not only... It's not only pursuing if the woman is like a fox who doesn't use words and only sits shaking, wiggling her tail in the corner of the forest, and then when he enters, she runs in slow motion through the forest. This is not only hunting. This is, I think, the pursuing. I think this is the very, forgive me, a very cliche version of pursuing. But I think if you want to go out with him, ask him out, and if he goes with you on a date, then there will be numerous situations where he can pursue you. And I think I don't know Jennifer, but I think she exactly knows what to do to make him feel the pursuer.
Oh no, like yeah. I think she can.
So there should be some playfulness, but it should not become. Oh, how can you explain that?
A game.
A play with script. Okay, now I text it.
Wait 40
Wait
minutes.
10 minutes. The man texts back. So playfulness is good. When it becomes a play, this is my humble opinion.
Can I just ask this thing because for me it's about I should feel comfortable while dating and also have fun and not feeling like I'm restricted in some kind of rules. This is why I could never stick. I read all the books. I read all the women how to get a man books, but I could never stick to it because I'm just not working like that. When I have to stick to rules, I cannot be myself anymore. And then I feel like I'm playing a game, and then I think when the man will be together with me, he will have another woman before him than he expected me to be. So
yes, I believe that as well.
This is why I want to have my name on my forehead, and I want to have my name in my texting, and I want to have my imprint everywhere I go. Otherwise, the man that really fits me won't find me. Yes. This is what I turned into, and this is how I think I also met you or attracted you in a sense, or that you felt attracted to me because I was as I was.
Yes, this is exactly what I think as well, because there are so many men and women like circling around each other and not stopping with circling and just go and stand like, hey, this is me.
Mm-hmm.
And
take me
I like you. And if you like me, well, this is what you have to like then. And if you're pleased with this, let's go on a date, or let's proceed, or let's
see where this leads to.
Yep.
This is good. Thanks, baby. Then we have Michela, and Michela asks, why is it for you, men, because it's not for you personally so difficult to speak about feelings? And this is a hard one.
This is a hard one for me because I never had difficulties talking about my feelings, not even when I was younger. I had difficulties with showing my feelings. This I did. It was very hard for me to become angry or to cry. And I think I'm like making steps in this. I think I can do this as well easier. But the talking about feelings was always quite easy for me. Maybe because I was raised up with a mother that always did that with me as well and was open to hear my experience and my view on feelings as well. But if I think it's just simple. I think it has to do with the simple thing that men still, or lots of men still, have the belief that if you talk about feelings, you are a pussy. And not only men, actually, because I really know and I really experience that there are also lots of women, not as much as men, but lots of women who feel this as well. They also feel that it's not very masculine and sturdy or strong to talk about your feelings too easily.
That women think that about men.
Yes.
If a man does this, they think, oh my god, what a pussy is that kind of guy.
Yeah, especially in the beginning of a date or a relationship.
Yeah.
When you are having a relationship, I think it has to. I think women have to do some work there as well, because guys, although they really want to, and because I'm in several men's groups, and I would love to take all you women once they're anonymous, so really? You could feel and see what we are talking about. It really goes very deep, and it goes about feelings, and so I think it has to do with. I think what if I may give an advice to the women watching, I think you have a task there as well to create like very, very safe bedding for a guy to come into, and then just give him the space to start slowly talking about his feeling and support him in this and see him in his struggles. And it's really about creating space, holding space,
Yes, holding, creating safe space.
Yeah, because women, and I know I generalize here and that I'm talking very black and white, but women have the tendency as well to take over stories very quickly. So if a man finally starts opening up, then they take over the story. So you really should shut the fuck up, actually, when a man is starting to open up. Hold space, create a safe space, shut up, just let him talk. And really connect and really ask him questions that can help him even dive deeper or go more easily over the threshold that holds him about expressing. Because I really think and I really know that men would love to talk easy about their feelings, but there's still some shame there and some old burdens and old beliefs. Yeah.
But can it also be because I think this question, for me, this why is it for you so difficult to speak about feelings, refers for me a lot to also in the beginning of a relationship. And I personally always have had the feeling, and you are really an exception to that, but that there are many men out there who are not really connected to their feelings. So they cannot really truly put a finger on it, what they're actually feeling. So when we, for example, say, baby, what's going on? They cannot tell you because they just don't know. They can just tell you, I'm angry, I'm sad, or whatever. But mostly they want to handle it on their own because then there's this, I don't want to be a pussy thing, push in. But I really think as long as they cannot put a name on it or know where it comes from, it's very hard to talk to them about, because then they totally feel like a loser because they don't know what they actually should say because they don't know.
Yes, this is true. And there you should, as a woman, should have the patience and the perseverance to create openness and create time and space for the guy to connect to this feeling and to learn how to give words to it. And I think the best what a woman can do is just ask questions and not like on a pushy, I want to know and I want to see you and just give me an answer because I want to know what you feel now. But just from a calmness and from a really honesty and really wanting to see him and not wanting to know what's going on, but really because you want to see him. It's a different focus.
Absolutely. Otherwise, when I want to ask you, because most of the times I have to admit, when I wanted to know what he's feeling, it was because I felt insecure about something, or I was afraid of something, and therefore I wanted answers. I wanted clarity, because clarity can give you some relief from that, you know where you're standing.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's so uncomfortable because they cannot give you answers, and you're just like somewhere in the nowhere, and you don't know what he's feeling, and he cannot communicate. So this is a bit difficult then.
Yeah. And I think, yes, this is difficult. And I exactly experienced it the other way around. I experienced this with women who could not open up and who could not point. But this is another story. I think the only thing then is that you bring yourself in the story, in the question. Like, baby, I have the feeling something's happening and this makes me insecure. Do you feel the space to say something about this, or am I totally wrong? Or it's also here, it's a play and to figure out what works the best for the both of you, because I can give now an answer, but maybe for Michela this doesn't work, and maybe for Jennifer this would work perfectly. So it's like everybody brings his and her own energy in a relationship or in a connection, And I think it's just a way of figuring out together what um, what works the best. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't it also have to do with trust? Because I think the problem that we have in all these questions actually is that we don't trust the other really, that he really treats our feelings right, or that he could play with our feelings. And
yes. The funny thing is, and I don't know if I may say this, but I'm going to do it anyhow, that I asked questions in my men's group as well. And if I compare your questions to the questions the man ask, in your questions I feel, and this is not a judgment, this is totally my feeling, I feel not lots of, but I feel a bit of mistrust, but also pain, insecurity. And if I look at the questions of the man, it's more like that they really want to know how things work without their own feelings attached to it. So I think I have the feeling, and I actually know this because I am in shared groups as well, where also women talk very openly about stuff. I think there's still some collective thing going on with women about mistreatment, mistrust, hurt feelings. And I don't want to say, like, if you go into a new relationship, you should cut this and go on because this is impossible. But it's good to have awareness on that, because not every man is your past man. Every man deserves a new chance. So, as a woman, you should try. I know this is fucking difficult. You should try to go in it without the judging. I don't know how to.
Just without the old burden, as
no, not without the old burden, but with awareness. Of
yeah,
the
that
old
you
burden.
know that you have a backpack.
Yes.
And that there is a lot of pain, and that
the man has his own backpack as well.
Yeah.
And I know this is hard because his childhood trauma and her childhood
can
trauma
trigger each other
the fuck out of each other, of course.
Yes, and this is the thing with the relationships, yeah?
Yes, because in a relationship you want to open your heart as wide as possible, and therefore you become vulnerable.
And you get hurt.
And you get hurt.
All the time. I mean, like...
And then the strong thing is to stay there and not run away. And I know men are champions in running away when it becomes a little bit too grindy. But I want to ask women to, if these things happen, don't immediately put a judgment on it, but also see how it works for them, and that they sometimes need space, and that they really need your help to open up. I think women are really, for us, are really important to open up and to connect to our feelings, because without women we cannot do that so easily.
This is beautiful. So you think that women help men to get connected to their feelings?
Yes. But therefore women have to keep stand firm where they are, and not do this whenever the guy hurts them. Yes. Out of his own hurt.
Yes. To stay open and just
to stay open and strong, and share what his actions do with her without
blaming him. Yeah, I think the blaming and judging thing is because just from our thing, we have this all the time, that shit comes up. But I mean, like, I don't know how many times I have been crying because old shit came up. But I think the difference between me and other, or how I used to be probably also, is that I now stand there and say, okay, this hurts as shit, and this triggers that, and I feel so unworthy right now, and I feel so not seen in this. And then perhaps boss says, okay, I'm sorry, but this triggers this in me, or we have all these kind of situations when...
And you don't always have to understand everything about each other, because Priska sometimes tells me things, and I hear her words, and I can understand that it is hurtful for her. But I haven't had totally not this experience, so I cannot feel it. I cannot integrate it. And then I think it's good to just say, baby, I hear what you say, but I cannot feel it because it's not an experience I have ever had in my life. But I see you, and if you need my support, or just ask for me what you need from me.
And that's the thing, that I have to own my own pain and also ask him if I need support, and I have really responsible for what's going on. So
yes, but this is already when you are way further in a relationship, and we are talking about the beginning here.
Yes, sorry, we.
So
but I think
topic.
But anything, I think it's still important, and we will. By the way, we have been asked also if we could do videos for women or men, because we're also going to do the same with men when I'm going to answer stuff. With women who are married or just couples who are married, to get more into the psyche or the feelings or the heart of the other. So we will do that too.
We are now on 35.
Yes, we have to cut it.
Maybe we stop it now?
Yeah. And the next thing we will, like the sequel, you will get when you subscribe to our love letter. It's free and you get all the other videos. So you should probably do that.
And there are lots of questions, so if you want your question answered, you should subscribe.
You should subscribe to our love letter. And the link is somewhere very near by this video. Yep. Okay, that's it.
Thank you for the question. Thank you for the question.
Thank you for the question.
Thank you for wording them out and for helping me to create the answers, because for me sometimes
I get that.
Also difficult to answer it.
Yeah.
À l'improviste.
À l'improviste. And I thank you for answering so honestly. I should have had you before. I should have had these answers before I met you.
The answers?
Yeah.
Well.
Okay.
Okay.
See you next time around. Bye.
Yes, bye-bye.